Groceries are getting stupid expensive right now. So today, I'm testing a cookbook for surviving tough economic times. This is the Cheap Canadian Cookbook. Recession-proof recipes for tough times. And I'm cooking through this to see if these meals will actually help you save money or if cheap recipes just taste cheap.
So without further ado, let's get started.
Breakfast tacos. Now, I love breakfast tacos. Did you know that in 1411, the crowned prince of Poland actually murdered his sister over a breakfast taco? I'm just fucking with you. I made that shit up. What is true is they started off as a working class breakfast in Texas. Cheap, easy, and to be eaten on the go.
For this recipe, you're gonna need eggs, tortillas, olive oil, onion, bacon, potato. This potato's not looking so great. It's seen better days, but it's going to be okay. And cheese. Once you have all of your ingredients together, you are going to dice your onions, grate your cheese, and then you are going to peel and cube or dice your potatoes. We're gonna prepare our eggs by whisking them in a bowl with a pinch of salt and pepper. Give it a whisk, put it to the side, and then get a pan. It is very important that you heat up the pan at this point. In your hot pan, put in your bacon. If you do it right, it should sound like this.
So the book says to cook the bacon until it's crispy. I'm gonna have a tough time with that. I decided to use cowboy bacon. Why'd you do that? You're probably wondering. Well, it's because the book didn't say what kind of bacon to get. It just said strips of bacon.
Regardless, cook your bacon until it gets crispy. Once it gets bubbly like this, you're gonna flip it.
All right, once that is done cooking, well, I have a wire rack here. You could just put it on a plate with paper towel. I'm just gonna lay this bacon down on here.
And once you do that, it is time to cook the onion and potato.
If I were you, I would personally just use whatever's in that pan. I would use that bacon grease to cook the onion and potato. But the instructions are telling me not to do that. So I am a good boy. I will follow the instructions even though I think they are wrong.
Yeah, you heard that right. The instructions say specifically to discard of the bacon grease and to just save a tiny bit of it. You should just use all of it. Needless to say, throw your potatoes and your onions in the hot bacon grease and cook it. Once that is done and you have yummy brown bits in the bottom of your pan, you're gonna move your potatoes to the side and toss in your eggs. You're gonna give that a nice stir and you're gonna cook that through until it's scrambled. I suppose if you did it right, everything will just be sticking to the bottom of your fucking pan.
Fucking taco recipe.
Regardless, now you're gonna grab your flour tortillas and you're gonna warm them up in a dry pan. Once your flour tortillas are nice and warm, you're gonna combine your bacon and egg mixture together, and then you are going to massage it until it is all combined. Assemble by putting down a flour tortilla. Then you are going to put your bacon and egg mixture on said tortilla, and then you will top with cheese. And if done properly, it should look something like this.
What was the point of the olive oil? It literally says, I need olive oil. It's in the ingredients list. The instructions don't even tell me to use it. Why'd you do this to me? Who did this? GR Life. You made me waste some of my really good Italian olive oil. I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna tickle your liver. It is what it is. Let's judge it for its taste. Are there things that you could do to improve it? Yeah, for sure. You could add sour cream, for example. I think that would make this better. You could add taco seasonings. You can add all sorts of spice. As for the base recipe itself, it's all right.
I would say that's a very solid base breakfast taco. Tons of room for improvement, but it's not bad, eh? Let's give it a 6 out of 10. All right, let's get her moving on.
Filipino adobo with rice. You don't need to call it Filipino adobo. Everyone knows it comes from the Philippines. Saying Filipino adobo with rice is like saying, I don't know, Mexican burritos or Canadian bacon. It's silly.
All right, so for this, you're gonna need chicken legs, either drumsticks or thighs or a mix of both. You're gonna need sliced onion, cloves of garlic, minced, You're gonna need soy sauce, white vinegar, water, bay leaves, whole black peppercorns, cooking oil, and long grain white rice. Alright, we're gonna start this off by mixing together our soy sauce, garlic, half of our sliced onions, and our chicken in a bowl. We're gonna let that marinate overnight. Alright, once it's done marinating, pull it out of the fridge. I put my chicken right there. You're gonna pour your oil into a heated pot, and once the oil is simmering, you're going to put in your chicken. And then of course keep your marinade for later, and then flip once it's browned enough on one side. That has developed more browning than I thought it would. Now cook it again until the other side is nice and brown.
All right, so I am blind. I do not know how to read instructions. I fucked up again. It says I'm supposed to saute and brown these onions in the pot before I put all the chicken in. So here's how I'm gonna fix this.
Basically the fix here is really easy. We're gonna take the pot off, we're gonna put a new clean pot on, we're gonna heat up some oil, saute some onions, and then we're gonna put the sauteed onions in with our chicken and adobo sauce.
All right, after everything is brown, pour back in the rest of this marinade. Put in the bay leaves, and then put in the peppercorn.
Now, obviously give that a stir and let that cook for a bit. Now, while that's cooking, we've got to make the rice. Now, first you've got to start off by washing your rice. Proper technique is to use your fingers like this in a circular motion. Now, if you applied the proper form with your fingers, then your water should look like this. If it looks like this, you did a good job.
All right, now on a second burner, you are going to actually cook the rice. Why are we using a burner, you might ask? Well, it's because the instruction book told us to use a pot instead of a rice cooker. I recommend using a rice cooker. Don't use a pot. You're not better than a rice cooker. Just use a rice cooker.
Now, if you are using a pot for whatever reason, well, you're gonna put your freshly washed rice into that pot. Then you're gonna put the stupid water into the stupid pot, and then you're gonna cook it until it's done. With the rice cooker, you could have pushed some really cool buttons, like that one. I know, my rice cooker's a little dirty. Shut up. All right, so your adobo chicken should be done about now, and it should look like this. Now to plate, it's very simple. You're gonna lay your rice inside of your bowl or plate, and then you are going to put your chicken on top with all of its onions, and you're gonna scoop a little bit of sauce on it, and we are ready to go.
Look at that. That is exactly what I grew up with. Look at that. God, that is beautiful. Look at that. Then you got the sauce, you have the fluffy rice. That's so good. There will never come a day where I don't love adobo. If you've never tried adobo chicken before, as you've seen here, it's basically recession proof. It's really easy to make. And it's so delicious. Everyone, you gotta try this. That for me is an easy 8.3. It's not the best I've ever had, but I've never had a bad adobo before. That's fucking delicious. I'm gonna eat the rest of this now.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Split pea soup. I've never had it. Sounds recession proof. I hope it tastes good.
All right, for this, you're gonna need some split peas. You're gonna need an onion, carrots, garlic, celery, olive oil, or any oil you have on hand, dried thyme, bay leaf, and chicken broth. We're gonna start off by slicing up our celery. We're gonna take that to the side, and then we are going to peel and slice some carrots. Don't worry, I didn't actually cut the carrots like this. This was an effect. Look here, I already have them cut in the background, and now here they are not, so don't worry, not pulling any sorcery. Now you're gonna dice up some onions and mince up some garlic, and after you've done all that, you're gonna wanna take your split peas and give them a nice rinse. Once you're done washing your split peas, you're gonna heat up some oil and you are going to saute your onions until they are soft, and then you will throw in your carrots, celery, and garlic. After that's sauteed for a while, you're gonna pour in your broth. You're gonna throw in your snap peas, if you can even get them out of the thing. Well, once you get that shit all sorted out, throw in your dried thyme and your bay leaf. Toss in some pepper, give that a good stir, and then let that simmer. Once the soup is done simmering, it should look like this. You're gonna take the bay leaf out and you are good to go. To serve this is really easy, given that it's a fucking soup. You're just gonna ladle it into a bowl and then you are good. See? Just like so. How hard was that?
You know what? That looks very homey. It smells amazing. It smells like just a ton of herbs. It smells like thyme. Overall, the soup is very simple, and I actually kind of appreciate that. I would eat this on a day where I'm feeling sick and I just need something light and to feel better.
Overall, I'm gonna give that soup a 7 out of 10. That was decent. All right, let's move on.
Stuffed cabbage rolls.
All right, well, for cabbage rolls, you're gonna need green cabbage. You're gonna need ground beef, cooked rice, onion, garlic, eggs, beaten, tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, Worcestershire sauce, oregano, and paprika. All right, so we're gonna start off by peeling our cabbage leaves. We're gonna need about 12 to 14 pieces, and it should look like this. Now you are going to bring a large pot of water to a boil. You are going to blanch your cabbage leaves for a couple of minutes. And when they're done blanching, they should look like this. You're gonna set them aside, and then you're gonna bring out a skillet, heat up some oil, and then we're gonna saute the onion and garlic. Should look like this when you're done. Then on the side, you're gonna bring out a bowl. You're gonna combine your ground beef, your rice, your onion and garlic mixture. You're gonna add in your egg, your Worcestershire sauce, your oregano, paprika, salt, and pepper. Then you are obviously going to mix that all together, and then you'll be left with something like this. All right, now you're gonna take your cabbage leaves and you are going to wrap the meat inside, just like this. Okay, we've got some small and some big cabbage rolls here. And just to be clear, smaller cabbage rolls are totally fine. I've met plenty of people who actually prefer smaller cabbage rolls, so yeah. Regardless, once that's all together, you're gonna get some sort of a baking dish and you are going to place your tomato sauce on the bottom of it. Once you have a layer in, you're gonna place all your cabbage rolls inside like so. And then you are going to top it up with the rest of your sauce. Hey idiot, turn on your mic next time so people can hear you. Basically what I'm trying to say is the jackass that wrote this book said to get some diced tomatoes and then didn't even use them in the recipe. Also at this point, you're gonna cover your rolls with foil and you're gonna bake it. After you bake it for a while, you're gonna take the tin foil off and you're gonna bake it even more. After it's done cooking, you're gonna set it down and we are ready to plate. Plating this is simple. You just take the fucking cabbage roll out and you put it on the plate, just like this. How hard is that? All right, now let's eat.
First things first, I want to make sure everything's actually cooked on the inside. Yes, it is. There's so many things you can do to get even more flavor out of this. This isn't bad. This is just a little bit over mid, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give that a 6.3 out of 10. That's not bad at all.
It's not bad, but it's just not amazing. And overall, with everything said, it didn't get a terrible score. Let's move on to the next one. Hey look, this idiot didn't turn on his mic again, so I'm gonna do a voiceover. Ice cream sandwich cake. Perfect. So for this recipe, all you need are ice cream sandwiches, chocolate syrup, and Cool Whip. Yeah, that's it. All right, let's do this, I guess. All right, just to give you a visual on what this recipe is, it is a loaf pan with chocolate wafer, followed by sugary ice cream, followed by sugary chocolate wafer, followed by whipped cream, followed by chocolate syrup, followed by chocolate wafer, followed by ice cream, followed by chocolate wafer, followed by whipped cream, followed by syrup, and optionally chocolate or whatever sprinkles. Now how about that? This book is trying to give me diabetes or some shit. And let me tell you, diabetes is not recession proof. Alright, so let me show you. You're gonna grab your loaf pan, you're gonna grab your ice cream sandwiches, you're gonna layer your ice cream sandwiches inside. Once you've done that, you are going to layer it with Cool Whip and chocolate syrup. The order really doesn't matter here. After your second layer of ice cream sandwiches, drizzle the rest of that chocolate sauce on top. And voila, should look like this after you fucking mix it around a little bit. You know you did it properly if it looks like it'll give you diabetes. Regardless, you're gonna put this in the freezer overnight. I genuinely hope I forget about this and never have to put it inside of my mouth. Unfortunately, I remembered. It should look like this after you're done freezing it. Basically, you're gonna take the plastic wrap off, you're gonna cut out a piece, oh my god, and you're gonna serve to no one, I hope. Oh yeah, and don't forget to top with more Cool Whip. Unfortunately, I have to risk diabetes to try this recipe, so let's just fucking get to it and get it over with. So my face here should say it all despite not having a voice at the moment. Listen, my opinion is simple. You took an already awesome ice cream sandwich and ruined it by drowning it in more sugar. Like, who asked for this? Adding more syrup and sugar didn't add depth of flavor, it just made the whole thing one note and way too sweet. Everything turns into this soft sugary mush where you can't even appreciate the original ice cream sandwich anymore. You didn't improve it, you just made it worse by turning it into this abomination. You get a 3 out of 10, moving on. Cauliflower steak. And yes, I forgot to turn on my mic again. The idiot ball goes to me again. So for this alleged steak, you're gonna need cauliflower, vegetable oil, smoked paprika, and chili flakes. Seems pretty simple. You're gonna start off by removing the leaves and the stem from your cauliflower. Once you do that, you're going to slice your cauliflower into steak-like pieces. Kind of like this. I guess this, you know what, this will do. This is fine. From here, you're gonna brush both sides with oil and you're gonna put your seasonings on. After you do this, you're gonna put your steaks into a baking sheet or a cast iron pan, something oven proof, and you're gonna line it with parchment paper. Put it in the oven, bake it for a bit, then flip it and then bake it again, and then you are done. Well, obviously you gotta take it out of the oven and then, you know, yeah. Take your cauliflower steaks out of the pan and put them on the plate for the money shot.
It's supposed to be a side to the main dish. I've never heard of steak being a side dish before. I'm a little bit confused and scared. It smells really good. It smells spicy in a good way. It says there's an optional cheese topping. Once again, the book didn't put that in the ingredients. Gotta say, I'm starting to think this book was written by AI and not a human, and not proofread. Though that chicken adobo is an absolute banger. Overall, I gotta say I'm not as impressed with this as I thought I would be. It's got a nice browning on it from the cooking, and it tastes really good for what roasted cauliflower should be.
Overall, I'm gonna give the cauliflower a 6 out of 10. There's just better ways to do it. There's better spice combinations you can use, and overall, cauliflower just by itself as its own dish doesn't really stand out all that well. Let's move on.
And the last thing on the menu is Nutella Toast Pies. This actually looks like it'll be somewhat good. Unlike that ice cream sandwich cake, which gave me type 1 onset diabetes after 2 bites. How do I explain that to my doctor?
All right, so for this recipe, you're gonna need bread, bananas, egg, Nutella, and milk. All right, well, this recipe is actually pretty simple. You're gonna start off by laying out your bread. You're gonna cut the crusts off. You're gonna put that to the side, and then you're gonna peel and slice your banana. After you do this, you're gonna whisk up your egg. And from here, you are going to take a slice of bread. You are going to put a crevice into it, and then followed by putting in your Nutella and a banana slice, or even 2 if you want. Now into your whisked egg yolk, you're gonna add the milk. And then you're gonna brush your bread with the yolk mixture. And from here, you will attempt to fold this and pinch it together. All right, well, I failed the first one. And just a disclaimer, I could not get this to work at all. If you somehow get this to work, you're gonna toss it in the air fryer or an oven and cook it to specifications, and then...
I cooked this to the exact specifications. That's what it looks like. Like, I actively tried my best to make this work out. Like, I really did. I didn't just give up on this recipe. I really tried to make it work out.
Yeah, I wasted an entire loaf of bread off camera trying to make this work. Well, with that being said, time for the photo finish.
The chocolate's coming out nicely, but it's still soggy bread. I cooked it exactly how it told me to. Same amount of time, maybe even longer, because I knew it would be a bit soggy. I gave this recipe every benefit of the doubt, and now I gotta put it in my mouth. That tastes like bread that was soaked in raw egg with banana and chocolate.
I give that a 2 out of 10. That shit was nasty. Do not ever try this recipe. It's inedible. Thank you. Alright, that is 7 recipes down, and we're not done with this book yet. As it stands right now, we've got a tentative score of 5.5 out of 10. And yes, tentative means we are absolutely not finished here. If you want me to keep cooking through more of this book, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, and we'll keep putting this thing to the test. I'll catch you in the next one.